What is up, guys? It is Sam here, and I wanted to talk about what a gigantic shift in business is happening right now. And I think we are on the very front edge of this type of thinking and this shift in the way that business is done. I think that shift will continue to accelerate. So I wanted to talk about that. But before I do that, make sure you press that red button that says subscribe. And there's a little bell notification. Just gently tap on that. Just gently tap on that shit so YouTube can notify you every time I post a video. Okay. With that being said, what is this shift? I pay attention. I really enjoy business, and I've been paying attention to it ever since I was like a kid. But the thing that I've noticed over the last couple years is that companies, and this is definitely not even slightly near the minority of companies who do this. This is like one company here or one company there, right? Like this doesn't happen very often at all. But it's doing the right thing, right? There's not many companies that we can hold out as examples that do the right thing. First of all, we don't have the context to really see this. But I think if you can see things that, well, first of all, let's define, right? We got to define what the fuck that means. So what does doing the right thing mean? Well, in my definition, how we're going to talk about it here, doing the right thing would be primarily doing the right thing for the customers, right? And that doesn't, well, let's get into more of this details in a second. Doing the right thing for the employees, right? And actually trying to help them achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. And I know that some of these things might be more progressive for some people who have a nostalgia for the way things used to be done. Doing the right thing for the suppliers and taking that same viewpoint where you're trying to have a collaborative relationship with these people or companies. And lastly, doing the right thing for the environment. One of the side effects that I've noticed from my own business, but also from just observing, running my business, working at the current company I'm working at, doing the same exact thing, and other things, is that when you do the right thing, on average, you just are more profitable. You have more customers. From my standpoint, I'm not going to do something for one of the peers, one of the employees, a customer, if it is not the right thing to do. I don't care if I work for a company and that's what they want me to do. That is not what I will do. I'm going to do the right thing. And what happens is that, from my perspective, there's a lot of people out there who are very myopic in their thinking about this, right? And comes in twofold, right? Like, there's a lot of people who just think short term, right? Instead of thinking long term. And long term is where all the fucking value is. And so many people think short term. And I get it. I understand part of it is just people don't think long term. And I think that's probably 75% of it. But there's also the other portion, or maybe it's 50, I don't know, 50-50. Like the another portion is like that's the game that's set up, right? If you have quarterly bonuses, right? Like some of the people that I work with, they have quarterly bonuses. So what type of behavior does that incentivize? Very myopic. Myopic is short term, for those of you who don't want to Google it. Or like nearsightedness. A lot of times it's used in vision context. But think very short term, right? Because relates to short-sightedness. So very short term in nature, the thinking that quarterly is. So that's the game that they're playing in. So that has to come from the top. That has to come from the leadership. That change in doing the right thing for the customer, doing the right thing for the employees, doing the right thing for the suppliers, doing the right thing for the environment, that has to come from the leadership. That has to come from the top. And I just have this sense that we are in the very, very elementary stages of this ideology actually playing out in business. Because I think that people are starting to realize doing the right thing is always the right thing to do, and you can still create a large, massive business by doing the right thing. You don't have to be a dick. You don't have to walk all over people. You don't have to do something that's shady or that's not legal. Like, you can do the right thing in every interaction and still win. It's not that hard. And I think that ideology, that framework that we just talked about, was not something that the media wants to talk about, right? Because somebody's not getting shot. Some old grandma's bank account's not getting robbed. Like, it's not going to get clicks. But I can sense that this is the beginning stages, right? And remember, I'm on the tail end of a bell curve, right? Like a bell curve looks something like this, right? So visualize that bell curve, and in between one standard deviation of the mean, which is the highest point, the average, one standard deviation is like 68% of the data points, and then two standard deviations is like 95 or something. I'm on the tail end of a bell curve with a lot of the ways that I live my life, or the way that I think about things, I feel like. And I wouldn't think that this is going to happen relatively soon, as in the next several months or several years. I think this is the beginning of a giant tidal wave of this starting to transform the business landscape in general. And I think it's going to be a very interesting thing to play out. And that was actually the whole point of making this video, is because, first of all, I find it super interesting. But I was talking to my girlfriend, and her eyes were glazing over, because she probably doesn't give a fuck about this shit. But I was like, I'm going to make this video so that in 18 years, I can pull this video up and show I've been talking about the same fucking shit 18 years later, of how doing the right thing is always the right thing to do. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. If you're still here at this point, make sure you press that subscribe button. I make videos pretty much every fucking day, and if you want to support the channel, press that little bell notification if you want to watch the videos in the future. Also, my Instagram is in the description, so you can jump over to Instagram and say what's up. I will get back to you, even if it takes a day or so. I appreciate you guys. Peace.